Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with some pretty insightful discussions on the latest tech and gadgets.
Yeah, definitely casual.
Today, we are diving deep into the U.S.-China technology competition. Think market impacts and even defense innovation and how startups fit into all this. You're probably curious about how this could impact your investments, or maybe you just want to understand the tech landscape better. Either way, we got you.
It's a fascinating landscape for sure. We've moved beyond just, who's building the fastest computer. This competition influences global power, supply chains, even the future of innovation.
Okay, let's unpack that. One thing that jumped out at me from these articles is all this market uncertainty surrounding Trump's return and his tariff tactics against China. Big players like Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla are feeling the pressure.
Yeah, and it's not just a repeat of his previous trade war, though.
Yeah.
This time, Trump's linking tariffs to national security issues like fentanyl and immigration, which gives him more leverage, but also creates uncertainty for investors who are trying to predict the market.
So companies are hesitant to project earnings during calls because this whole tariff situation could change everything. Makes it harder for investors to make informed decisions.
Exactly. But here's a fascinating twist. China is responding strategically. They're signaling that they are open to negotiation by not immediately retaliating with tariffs of their own. This could actually be a good buying opportunity for investors willing to be a little bold.
So a wait-and-see approach, with the potential for some savvy moves if things settle down. Okay, now that's the takeaway I can use. Speaking of innovation, there's this new player in the game, DeepSeek, a Chinese AI breakthrough that seems to have everyone a little rattled. What are your thoughts on that?
DeepSeek is significant. It's a clear sign that China is serious about challenging U.S. dominance in AI. The U.S. response has been interesting. Trump issued executive orders stressing U.S. air dominance in technology.
Air dominance. Okay, that sounds intense. So we're not talking about actual fighter jets here, right? What does that even mean in this context?
It's about controlling the most advanced technologies like AI and quantum computing to maintain a strategic advantage. One way they're trying to do this is through stricter export controls on things like semiconductors, which will likely impact companies like Nvidia, at least in the short term.
So the administration is trying to slow down China's progress by limiting their access to essential components.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that also hurt U.S. companies that rely on global supply chains?
It's a delicate balance, but the long-term goal is to protect U.S. technological leadership, which could ultimately benefit those companies by reducing competition. Of course, some argue that the stifling of competition might actually hinder breakthroughs.
Right, it's a tough call. But this whole situation got me thinking about how the defense tech landscape is evolving. We've got this incredible story about a small startup out of Syracuse, New York, that's now leading the way in defense innovation. They're even attracting investments from giants like Lockheed Martin.
What's remarkable about this company is they're not following the traditional defense contractor playbook. They're blending commercial and defense applications by selling both hardware and airspace awareness data. This makes their tech more accessible while also helping secure critical airspace, think drone detection, and integration with existing defense systems.
And it's not just theoretical, they're actually deploying this technology in Washington, D.C., where it's playing a crucial role in airspace monitoring during high-profile events like the presidential inauguration. That's a pretty big deal for a company that essentially started in someone's basement.
It really shows how the defense tech landscape is shifting. Smaller, more agile companies are finding innovative solutions to complex problems.
So we've got this big picture competition between the U.S. and China, market uncertainty fueled by tariffs, and this little startup making waves in defense tech. It seems like everything is connected. You mentioned earlier that this current uncertainty around tariffs might actually be a good buying opportunity for investors. Could you expand on that a little?
Sure. If things calm down and negotiations with China progress, we could see a rebound in the companies that have been hit hard by the trade war.
So it's kind of like bargain hunting, looking for those undervalued stocks that have been caught in the crossfire. What kind of investor would benefit most from this potential buying opportunity?
It's definitely a strategy for those with a higher risk tolerance, but it's crucial to be selective and do your research. Not every company will bounce back at the same rate.
That makes sense. And looking beyond the immediate impacts of tariffs, are there any long-term trends we should be paying attention to in this tech landscape?
Absolutely. Infrastructure development is a key area to watch. The U.S. government is discussing major investments in transportation and telecommunications, which could significantly impact various industries.
This sounds like it could be huge. What specific industries would benefit the most from these infrastructure developments?
Think about industries that heavily rely on infrastructure, pharmaceuticals, aerospace, and defense. All these sectors could benefit from improved transportation networks, faster communication, and more efficient logistics.
So it's not just about building roads and bridges, but about creating an environment where these industries can thrive and innovate.
Exactly, and this brings us back to that startup we were discussing. Their success exemplifies how smaller players are disrupting the defense tech landscape, creating investment opportunities outside of traditional defense contractors.
They're proving that you don't need to be a massive corporation to make a real impact. That's really inspiring, especially for any aspiring entrepreneurs out there listening.
It's definitely an exciting time to be involved in technology and innovation, even amidst all the complexities of the U.S.-China rivalry.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from trade wars and AI breakthroughs to startups shaking up the defense tech industry. It's clear that the U.S.-China tech rivalry is shaping the world in significant ways.
And it's only going to become more critical in the coming years. Technology is evolving at an incredible pace, and the competition between these two superpowers is a major driving force behind that innovation.
Which brings us back to our listeners. They're the ones who need to navigate this complex landscape and make informed decisions about their investments and even their careers. It's important to not just understand what's happening, but why it matters and how it can impact them personally.
Staying informed, understanding the forces at play, and being adaptable in the face of change are crucial in this environment.
And that's precisely why we do Byte-Sized Tech. We aim to break down these complex topics and make them accessible, engaging, and maybe even a little entertaining.
We're all in this together. By sharing knowledge and perspectives, we can navigate this exciting, sometimes daunting technological future.
I love that perspective, a sense of shared discovery and some optimism to boot. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the U.S.-China tech rivalry, is there one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
It boils down to this rivalry. It represents two very different visions for the future.
So it's not just about who builds the coolest gadgets, but about what those gadgets represent and how they're used.
It's something for all of us to consider. How do we want technology to shape our lives? What role do we want to play in this global competition? These are big questions, but worth pondering.
Absolutely. It's conversations like this that help us grapple with these questions. Thanks for diving deep with me today. It's always fascinating to get your insights.
It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm glad we could shed some light on this complex and ever-evolving topic.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.